The North is cold and full of whispers.
Before we dive in, check the link in the description if you want exclusive Timelines members-only videos you won't find on YouTube, all on our Patreon.
The feast is loud, too loud. Robert Baratheon sits at the high table, cup in hand, watching the Northerners celebrate his arrival. 15 years since the rebellion. 15 years since he took the Iron Throne and lost the only woman he ever loved. The wine tastes like ash. Everything tastes like ash. Ned Stark sits beside him, silent, watchful, the way Ned always is. Robert drains his cup, reaches for the pitcher. Ned's hand stops him. "You've had enough, Your Grace," Ned says quietly. Robert laughs. "It is a bitter sound. Enough. I haven't had enough in 15 years, Ned. Not since she died." Lyanna wouldn't want, don't. Robert's voice is sharp, dangerous. Don't tell me what she would want. You put her in the ground. I didn't even get to say goodbye. Ned's face tightens. Guilt. Always guilt with Ned Stark. Robert knows that look. Has seen it 1,000 times. Knows Ned carries secrets like other men carry swords. Robert stands. The hall is spinning slightly. Not drunk enough to fall. Too drunk to care. "I'm going for a walk." Robert. "Alone, Ned." "I want to be alone." He leaves the hall. The cold night air hits him like a fist. He breathes deep. The North. Lyanna's home. The place she grew up wild and free before Rhaegar Targaryen stole her and broke the world. Robert walks without thinking. His feet know where they're going before his mind does. Down. Down into the earth. Down into the crypts where the kings of winter sleep. Winterfell. The crypts. Night. The crypts are warmer than they should be. Robert notices this immediately. Steam rises from cracks in the stone floor. The hot springs beneath Winterfell. Ned said, ancient. Older than the castle itself. Robert walks past statues of dead Starks. Stone faces watching him in the torchlight, judging him. He doesn't care. He's looking for one face. One statue. Lyanna Stark. She's at the far end of the crypt, smaller than the others. She was not a queen, not a lady. Just a girl who died too young, caught between a dragon and a stag, and crushed between them. Robert stops in front of her statue. The stone face is serene, cold, nothing like the fire she was in life. He reaches out, touches the carved cheek. "I'm sorry," he whispers. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you. I'm sorry I wasn't enough." A sound. Robert freezes. Not the wind, not the drip of water. Something else. Something alive. He turns. A boy kneels before the statue, dark-haired, gray-eyed, 14, maybe 15 years old. Robert knows him. Ned's bastard. Jon Snow. The boy is holding something in his arms, something that moves. Something that gleams green and bronze in the torchlight. A dragon. Robert's hand goes to his warhammer. The weapon is always with him, always ready. He rips it free from his belt. The sound echoes through the crypt like thunder. "Dragon spawn!" The roar comes from somewhere deep in his chest. 15 years of rage. 15 years of grief. Rhaegar's face in his mind. The rubies scattering in the trident. The sound of the prince's breastplate caving in under his hammer. Dragons. Targaryen. Evil. Must destroy. The dragon in Jon's arms shrieks. It is small, the size of a large cat. Its scales are pale green with bronze markings. Flames lick from its jaws. Small flames, kitten-sized, but flames nonetheless. Jon Snow scrambles backward, shields the dragon with his body. His face is tear-streaked, terrified. "Please, Your Grace." Jon's voice cracks. "Please, it's just a baby. It won't hurt anyone, please." The warhammer feels right in his hands. Familiar. This is what he does. This is what he is. The man who killed the dragon. The man who ended the Targaryen line. "That thing is an abomination," Robert says. His voice is cold. Sober now. Fury burns away wine better than any maester's remedy. Dragons died with Ares. They should stay dead. She left it for me. Jon is crying now. Openly. Desperately. "My mother left this for me. It's all I have of her. Please, please don't kill it." Robert stops. "Your mother?" "She's buried here," Jon says. He looks at Lyanna's statue. "I come here to talk to her. I found the egg behind her tomb. Warm. Always warm. It hatched 3 days ago. I didn't know what to do. I didn't tell anyone. I just wanted something that was hers. Robert stares at the boy, at Lyanna's statue, at the dragon. His mind is moving slowly, wine and rage making everything thick. But something is wrong. Something doesn't fit. Jon Snow, Ned's bastard, but Ned has never told him who the mother was. Just a woman in the south. And then silence. 15 years of silence. And now this boy kneels before Lyanna's tomb, holding a dragon, saying, "My mother left this for me." Ned. Robert bellows. His voice shakes the crypt. "Ned Stark, get down here." Footsteps. Running. Ned appears at the entrance to the crypt, torch in hand. He sees the scene. Robert with his warhammer raised, Jon on the ground with the dragon, Lyanna's statue watching. Ned's face goes white. "Robert, is he hers?" Robert's voice is shaking. "Is the boy Lyanna's?" Ned closes his eyes. A long moment, the longest moment. Then he speaks. "Yes." The word hangs in the air. "Yes. Yes. Yes." Robert's warhammer falls from his hand. Hits the stone floor with a clang that echoes forever. "You kept her son from me," Robert says. His voice is very quiet, very controlled. The voice he uses right before he kills someone. "You kept Lyanna's son from me for 14 years. I promised her," Ned says. He steps forward, slowly, hands open. "She was dying, Robert. Childbirth. She made me promise to protect him, to keep him safe." "Safe from what?" Robert roars. "Safe from what, Ned?" "From you." The truth lands like a hammer blow. Ned continues. His voice is steady. "This is Eddard Stark, Lord of Winterfell, Warden of the North, the man who never lies, the man whose honor is legend." "She knew you would want to kill Rhaegar's children," Ned says. "The way Tywin Lannister killed Aegon and Rhaenys, the way you praised him for it. Dragon spawn, you called them. Better off dead. She knew you would kill her son. So she made me promise, made me swear, to tell everyone he was mine, to raise him as my bastard, to keep him alive." Robert's legs give out. He sinks to his knees, stares at Jon Snow, Lyanna's son. The boy has her eyes. Gray, Stark eyes. But the hair is dark. The face is long. Rhaegar's face. The Dragon Prince's ghost staring at him from a boy's frightened features. "Rhaegar's son," Robert whispers. "Lyanna's son," Ned corrects. "Firm. That matters more." Robert looks at the dragon in Jon's arms. The boy is still shielding it, still protecting it with his body even though Robert could crush them both with one blow. Protecting something small and helpless, the way Robert failed to protect Lyanna. Robert reaches out. Slowly, his hand is shaking. Jon flinches but doesn't pull away. Robert touches the dragon's snout. It is warm. Alive. Smooth scales under his calloused fingers. The dragon hisses but does not bite, does not burn. Just watches him with eyes like molten bronze. Robert Baratheon has 1/4 Targaryen blood. His grandmother was Rhaelle Targaryen, daughter of Aegon the Unlikely. The dragon can smell it. Recognizes it. Kin. The dragon's head tilts. Curiosity, not aggression. Robert begins to weep. He pulls his hand back, covers his face. The sobs come hard and deep. 15 years of grief finally breaking through. 15 years of wine and whores and trying to forget the girl who was fire in human form. "She sent me a dragon," Robert says through his tears. "Even dead, she's still sending me signs." Jon is staring at him, confused, terrified. Hopeful, Ned kneels beside Robert, places a hand on his shoulder. "What do you want to do?" Ned asks quietly. Robert looks at Jon, at Lyanna's son, at the dragon, at the second chance the gods just handed him. "The Lannisters are vipers," Robert says. His voice is rough, broken, but there is something new in it, something that hasn't been there in years. Purpose. "My children are abominations. Cersei's golden-haired bastards with her brother. I've known for 2 years. I just didn't care enough to act." Ned's eyes widen. "Robert, but this." Robert gestures at Jon and the dragon. "This is real. This is hers. This is what I should have been protecting all along." He stands, pulls Jon to his feet. The boy is shaking. The dragon is shaking. Robert is shaking. What's its name? Robert asks. Jon blinks. I don't know. I just call it Stormwing, Robert says. The name comes from nowhere. From everywhere. Baratheon storms and dragon wings. We'll call it Stormwing, because it's hers and mine and yours. All of us together. Jon nods. Mute. Overwhelmed. Robert looks at Ned. We need to talk. Now. About everything. Night. 1 hour later. Mikken the blacksmith has been sent away. The forge is hot. The dragon, Stormwing, sleeps on a bed of heated coals, content as a cat. Jon stands nearby watching it. Protective. Always protective. Robert and Ned sit on the workbenches. Robert is sober now. Completely sober. Clear-eyed for the first time in years. Tell me everything, Robert says. Ned tells him. The Tower of Joy. 3 Kingsguard defending a tower in Dorne. Lyanna inside. Dying. Rhaegar's child in her arms. Promise me, Ned. Promise me you'll keep him safe. Promise me you won't let Robert kill him. The fight. 7 against 3. Only Ned and Howland Reed surviving. The Kingsguard dying to protect their prince's son. Lyanna's last words. Her last breath, the promise Ned made, the lie Ned has lived for 14 years. Jon Snow. Ned Stark's bastard. Conceived in the South during the war. A shameful secret. A stain on Ned's honor. Better a stain on his honor than a child dead. Robert listens. Does not interrupt. When Ned finishes, Robert is silent for a long time. Then he speaks. I'm legitimizing him, Robert says. Robert, you can't. I'm the king. I can do whatever I want. Robert's voice is firm. Final. Jon Baratheon Stark, Prince of Dragonstone, heir to the Iron Throne. Cersei's children are bastards born of incest. Robert says, I'm going to deal with that. Soon, but not yet. First, we need to secure Jon. Secure the dragon. Make sure they're both protected before the Vipers strike. Thinking. Always thinking 3 moves ahead. What's your plan? Ned asks. We bring the dragon south, Robert says. Hidden. Secret. We don't announce anything until we're ready. Until Jon is trained. Until Stormwing is big enough to be a real threat. Then we burn every Lannister lie to ash. How do you hide a dragon? The same way you hid a Targaryen prince for 14 years, Robert says. Carefully. Jon speaks for the first time. His voice is quiet, uncertain. Why are you doing this? I'm Rhaegar's son. You hate Rhaegar. You should hate me. Robert looks at him, really looks at him, sees Lyanna in the gray eyes, sees the fear and hope warring in the boy's face. I do hate Rhaegar, Robert says. I'll hate him until the day I die. But you're not him. You're hers. And she asked Ned to keep you safe. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to give you the life you should have had. The life she wanted for you. He pauses, and maybe along the way I'll become the man I should have been. The man she deserved. Jon's eyes are wet. I don't understand. You will, Robert says. But first, you need to learn to ride that dragon. And I need to learn how to be a king again. Ned looks between them. Robert and Jon, the broken king and the hidden prince, the dragon sleeping in the forge, oblivious to the storm it has just unleashed. This is going to change everything, Ned says quietly. Good, Robert says. Everything needs to change. Winterfell. Jon's chambers. 298 AC. Month 1. Days later. Jon cannot sleep. Stormwing is in the forge, hidden, guarded by men Ned trusts absolutely. But Jon can feel the separation. A pull. A connection he doesn't understand. The dragon is his. He is the dragon's. Something in his blood knows this. There's a knock on the door. Jon sits up. Come in. Robert enters. He looks different. Cleaner. Less drunk. He has been sober for 3 days, the longest stretch in years. Can't sleep either? Robert asks. No, Your Grace. Stop calling me that. When we're alone, I'm Robert. He sits on the edge of Jon's bed. Awkward. Neither of them knows how to do this. How to be family. I wanted to talk to you. About your mother. Jon's breath catches. You knew her. I loved her, Robert says. Simple, honest, from the time I was 16 years old until the day she died, and every day since. She was wild, Jon. Fire in human form. She rode horses like she was born on horseback. She beat me at archery once, laughed when I sulked about it. What did her laugh sound like? Jon asks. He has wondered this his whole life. Like bells, Robert says. His voice is soft, distant. Silver bells on a winter morning. I'd burn the world to hear that laugh again. They sit in silence, sharing grief for a woman Jon never knew, and Robert never stopped mourning. I'm going to legitimize you, Robert says, publicly, but not yet. First, we need to prepare. Cersei is dangerous. The Lannisters are dangerous. They'll try to kill you the moment they realize you threaten Joffrey's claim. I don't want to be a prince, Jon says. Neither did I want to be a king, Robert says. But the gods don't ask what we want. They give us what we need. And the realm needs you. Needs that dragon. Needs something better than what I've given them. I don't know how to be a prince. Then I'll teach you, Robert says, starting tomorrow. Swordplay, strategy, court politics, everything you need to know to survive the viper's nest we're walking into. He stands, moves to the door, stops. Your mother made Ned promise to keep you safe, Robert says. I'm making myself a promise. I'm going to give you the life she wanted for you, the life you deserve, even if it kills me. Robert, sleep, Jon. Tomorrow, everything changes. Robert leaves. Jon sits alone in the dark. Outside his window, the north stretches vast and cold and ancient. Somewhere, in the forge, Stormwing dreams of fire. Winterfell. The training yard, 298 AC, month 1. Morning, Robert and Jon face each other in the yard. Practice swords. Ned watches from the side. The household has noticed the king's sudden interest in the bastard boy. They whisper. They speculate. They do not know the truth. Not yet. Show me what Ned taught you, Robert says. Jon raises his sword, northern style, straightforward. Honest. He strikes. Robert parries easily. Jon presses the attack. Faster, harder. Robert gives ground. Testing. Watching Jon overextends. Robert disarms him with a quick twist. The practice sword goes flying. You fight like Ned, Robert says. All honor. No cunning. That'll get you killed in King's Landing. Then teach me, Jon says. Robert grins. It is the first real smile anyone has seen on his face in years. All right, boy. Lesson 1. Never fight fair. Only fools fight fair. They train for 2 hours. Robert is relentless. Brutal. But Jon can see the purpose behind every move. This is not cruelty. This is preparation. When they finish, both are breathing hard. Robert claps Jon on the shoulder. You're quick, Robert says. Quicker than I was at your age. But you need to be meaner. The people we're going up against won't hesitate. Neither can you. I'll try, Jon says. Don't try. Do. Robert's voice is firm. Or die. Those are your options. Arya Stark appears at the edge of the yard. She has been watching, 10 years old and fearless. She runs up to Jon. You're getting better, she says. Can I train with you? No, Robert says before Jon can answer. Ladies don't fight. Lyanna Stark fought, Arya says, defiant. Jon told me stories. She was good with a sword. Robert stares at her, sees the fire in her eyes. The same fire Lyanna had. All right, Robert says, you can train, but if you cry, you're done. I never cry, Arya says. We'll see, Robert says. Ned watches from the side. Sees Robert teaching Jon and Arya. Sees purpose in Robert's eyes for the first time in 15 years. Something is changing. Something fundamental. And Ned knows it cannot be stopped. Winterfell. The Great Hall. 298 AC. Month 1. Evening feast. The royal household gathers for dinner. Robert sits at the high table. Jon is beside him. Not at the bastard's bench, at the high table. Next to the king. Catelyn Stark's face is cold, angry. She has hated Jon Snow for 14 years. Hated the reminder of Ned's infidelity. Hated the stain on her marriage. Now the king treats the bastard like a prince. It is an insult, a mockery. Cersei Lannister watches from across the table. Her eyes are calculating, suspicious. Robert has been sober for 5 days. He smiles at the Stark bastard. He ignores her and their children. Something has changed. Something dangerous. Cersei does not know what. But she will find out. Tyrion Lannister, the imp, drinks wine and observes. He is the smartest Lannister, the most perceptive. He sees the way Robert looks at Jon. Fatherly, protective. Robert has never looked at Joffrey that way. Tyrion files this information away. Useful, potentially profitable, definitely dangerous. The feast continues. Robert tells stories, jokes, laughs. The Northerners are shocked. The king has not laughed like this in years. Jon sits beside him, quiet and overwhelmed. This is not his world. He is a bastard. He belongs in the shadows. Not at the high table, not beside the king, but Robert keeps pulling him into conversations, asking his opinions, treating him like he matters. It is terrifying and wonderful in equal measure. The feast ends. The hall empties. Robert pulls Jon aside. "Tomorrow we leave for King's Landing," Robert says. "The dragon comes with us. Hidden. Secret. No one can know. Understand?" "Yes," Jon says. "Good." Robert's face is serious, because once we're in the capital, the real game begins. And if we lose, we die. All of us. "I won't let you down," Jon says. "You're Lyanna's son, and she never let anyone down in her life." They part. Jon returns to his chambers, lies awake, thinking about dragons and crowns and the mother he never knew. Tomorrow, everything changes. Tomorrow, the journey south begins. Winterfell, the courtyard, 298 AC, month 2, dawn. The royal procession assembles, wagons, horses, hundreds of people, servants, guards, lords and ladies, and one wagon reinforced with iron bands, locked, guarded by Robert's personal men, Baratheon soldiers, not Lannister guards. The official story. Royal treasury, gold and jewels returning to King's Landing. The truth. A dragon. Stormwing sleeps inside on heated stones. The wagon is lined with braziers. Kept warm. The dragon is the size of a large dog now, growing faster than anyone expected. Fed on mutton and beef from Winterfell's stores. Jon checks the wagon one last time before they leave. Slips inside through a gap. Stormwing stirs. Nuzzles against Jon's hand. "We're going south," Jon whispers. "To the capital. You have to stay quiet. Stay hidden." "Can you do that?" The dragon chirps. It sounds almost like agreement. Jon leaves the wagon, mounts his horse, rides beside the carriage as they depart. Winterfell falls away behind them. The King's Road stretches south. The journey to King's Landing takes weeks. Weeks of hiding the dragon. Weeks of Robert's training. Weeks of preparing for war. Because war is coming. Jon knows this. Robert knows this. Ned knows this. The Lannisters will not give up power without a fight. And when they discover the dragon, they will strike with everything they have. The King's Road, 298 AC, month 2. Traveling south, the royal procession moves slowly, 2 miles per hour. Wagons and horses and people. Too many people. Too much noise. Jon rides beside the dragon wagon. Always. Every day. He volunteers to guard the treasury. No one questions it. A bastard guarding gold is proper. Expected. Inside the wagon, Stormwind grows. By the second week, the dragon is too large to fit comfortably. By the third week, Jon has to reinforce the iron bands. The dragon is strong, restless. It wants to fly, but it cannot. Not yet. Not until they're somewhere safe. Robert rides with Jon most days. They talk about Lyanna, about dragons, about the history of the Targaryens. Aegon the Conqueror had 3 dragons, Robert says. Balerion, Vhagar, Meraxes. He burned Harrenhal to slag, killed thousands, conquered the 7 kingdoms in 2 years. "Are you worried?" Jon asks, "about what Stormwing might become?" "No," Robert says, "because you're not Aegon. You're Lyanna's son. You'll use the dragon to protect, not conquer." "How do you know?" "Because she raised you," Robert says. Even from the grave she raised you. Ned told me what you're like. Quiet, kind, protective of the weak. That's all her. None of that is Rhaegar. He has spent his whole life wondering about his parents. Now one of them is being explained to him by the man who loved her. Tell me more about her, Jon says. Robert does. Story after story. Lyanna riding in the Wolfswood, Lyanna defending a smaller boy from bullies, Lyanna crying at a sad song. Jon listens. Builds a picture of his mother from Robert's memories. It is not complete. It is colored by Robert's obsession. But it is something. More than he has ever had. At night, they camp. Jon sneaks into the dragon wagon. Feeds Stormwing. Whispers to the dragon in the dark. We're going to King's Landing. Jon says. The capital. Where the Iron Throne is. Where Robert is king. The dragon listens. Its bronze eyes watch Jon with intelligence. It understands more than it should. Dragons are smart. Smarter than horses. Smarter than dogs. Almost smart enough to be dangerous. When we get there, you have to stay hidden, Jon says. Until Robert says it's safe. Can you do that? Stormwing nuzzles Jon's hand. Warm. Trusting. Jon hopes he is not leading this creature to its death. The King's Road. Campfire. 298 AC. Month 2. Night. Robert sits by the fire. Jon beside him. Ned across from them. The three of them alone. The rest of the camp is sleeping. We need to talk about what happens when we reach King's Landing, Ned says. I know. Robert says, the dragon can't stay hidden forever. How long do we have? Jon asks. Weeks. Maybe a month if we're lucky. Robert stares into the fire. Cersei is already suspicious. She's noticed I'm sober. Noticed I favor you. She'll have spies watching. Listening. The moment they discover Stormwing, she'll act. Try to kill you, Robert says bluntly. And the dragon. Poison. Assassins. Whatever it takes. Cersei is many things, but subtle is not one of them. Then we strike first, Ned says. Robert looks at him. Surprised. Eddard Stark does not speak of striking first. Ned is honor. Ned is law. What are you suggesting? Robert asks. You said Cersei's children are bastards, Ned says. Born of incest with Jaime. If that's true, if you can prove it, then Joffrey has no claim. Jon becomes your legal heir. The dragon becomes the symbol of your renewed dynasty. The Lannisters lose everything. I can prove it, Robert says. Jon Arryn was investigating before he died. He found the records. Every Baratheon child in 300 years had black hair. Every one. Cersei's children are all golden-haired. That's not chance. That's Lannister blood. Jaime's blood. Then we use that, Ned says. We expose them, publicly, in court. Make it impossible for Tywin to defend. Tywin will go to war, Robert says. Let him, Ned says. The North will stand with you, and you have a dragon. Thinking. Then he nods. All right, Robert says, but we do this carefully. We gather evidence. We build the case. We don't move until we're ready. And when we do move, we move decisively. No half measures. We end the Lannisters in one stroke. Agreed, Ned says. Jon listens, overwhelmed. This is treason they are planning. War. Death. All because of him. Because of the dragon. I'm sorry, Jon says quietly. Both men look at him. For what? Robert asks. For bringing this down on you. The dragon. The danger. If I had just... Stop, Robert says. His voice is firm. You didn't ask for this. You didn't choose to be Lyanna's son. You didn't choose to find that egg. But now you have it. Now we have a chance. A real chance to make things right. To build something better than what I've wasted 15 years creating. He leans forward, looks Jon in the eye. You are not a burden, Robert says. You are the first good thing that's happened to me since Lyanna died. Don't apologize for that. Jon nods. Mute. Grateful. They sit by the fire until it burns low. 3 men. A king, a lord, and a bastard prince, planning a war that will shake the 7 kingdoms. Above them, the stars are cold and distant, uncaring. But in the wagon, Stormwing sleeps, and dreams of fire. The King's Road. 298 AC, Month 3, approaching King's Landing. The royal procession has been traveling for 6 weeks. The riverlands give way to the crownlands. The air is warmer here, softer. The north's cold bite is gone, replaced by the humid warmth of the south. Jon rides beside the dragon wagon as always. Stormwing is restless. The dragon has grown. It is the size of a large wolf now, too big to fit comfortably in the reinforced carriage. Its tail scrapes against the iron bands. Its wings are cramped. Jon can feel the dragon's frustration through their bond. It wants to fly, wants to hunt, wants to spread its wings and scream at the sky. Not yet, Jon whispers through the slats. Soon, I promise. Just a little longer. The dragon chirps, unhappy but obedient. Robert rides up beside Jon. The king looks better than he has in years. Sober, clear-eyed. He has lost weight from the hard riding and training. He is not the warrior he was at the Trident, but he is closer than he has been in a decade. How's our friend? Robert asks quietly. Growing, Jon says. Fast. Too fast for the wagon. We need to find somewhere to keep it in King's Landing. Somewhere secure. I have a place in mind, Robert says. The old dragon pit. It's been abandoned for over a century. No one goes there. The small folk think it's cursed. Perfect for hiding a dragon. How do we get Stormwing there without being seen? At night, Robert says. We arrive at King's Landing tomorrow. The next night, we move the dragon. You, me, and a handful of men I trust absolutely. We get it into the dragon pit before dawn. Then we keep it there until we're ready to reveal it. Jon nods. The plan is simple. Simple plans are better. Less that can go wrong. What about Cersei? Jon asks. Robert's face hardens. Leave Cersei to me. I'll keep her distracted. She's already suspicious, but she doesn't know what she's suspicious of. That gives us an advantage. For now, they ride in silence for a moment. Then Robert speaks again. When we get to King's Landing, you need to be careful, Jon. The Red Keep is full of vipers. Littlefinger, Varys, Cersei, Pycelle. Every one of them has an agenda. Every one of them will try to use you if they can. I'll be careful, Jon says. Good. Robert looks at him. Because you're all I have, boy. You and that dragon, you're the only things that matter anymore. The weight of that statement settles on Jon's shoulders. Heavy. Terrifying. He is 14 years old. A bastard from the north. And the king of the 7 kingdoms just told him he is all that matters. Jon does not feel ready for this. But ready or not, King's Landing is coming. King's Landing. The Red Keep, 298 AC, Month 3. Arrival. The city sprawls before them. 500,000 people packed into narrow streets. The smell hits Jon first. Fish. Shit. Humanity. The stench of King's Landing is legendary, worse than any northern village. The royal procession enters through the Gate of the Gods. People line the streets, cheering, shouting, "Long live the king! Long live King Robert!" Robert waves, performs. He is good at this, always has been. The people love him. They do not know he is a drunk who has bankrupted the realm. They only see the demon of the Trident, the man who killed Rhaegar Targaryen and ended the Mad King's reign. Jon rides behind Robert. No one cheers for him. He is nobody. Just another face in the procession. Good. Better to be invisible. Better to be forgotten. The Red Keep rises above the city. Red stone walls. Massive towers. The seat of Aegon the Conqueror. The place where the Iron Throne sits, forged from the swords of Aegon's enemies. They pass through Maegor's Holdfast. The inner keep. The most secure part of the castle. Cersei Lannister waits in the courtyard. Beautiful. Cold. She wears green and gold. Lannister colors. Always Lannister colors, never Baratheon black and gold. Her children stand beside her. Joffrey, 12 years old, blonde and cruel-faced. Myrcella, 8, pretty and confused. Tommen, 7, soft and frightened. Robert dismounts. Does not embrace his wife. Does not kiss her. Just nods. Cersei. Husband, Cersei says. Her voice is ice. Welcome home. I trust your journey was eventful. Eventful enough, Robert says. He turns to the servants. Get the treasury wagon to the lower vaults. I want it under guard at all times. Baratheon guards, not gold cloaks. Cersei's eyes narrow. Treasury. You've been gone for months, Robert. What treasury? My business, Robert says. Not yours.
He walks past her, into the keep. Jon follows. Ned follows. Cersei watches them go. Her face is a mask of controlled fury. Joffrey speaks. Mother, why does father treat that bastard better than he treats us? I don't know, Cersei says quietly, but I intend to find out. The Red Keep. Robert's chambers. Evening. Robert's chambers are vast, a suite of rooms overlooking Blackwater Bay. Expensive, opulent, wasted on a man who spends most of his time in brothels and taverns. But Robert is different now. Sober. Focused. He sits at his desk reviewing documents. Jon Arryn's investigation notes, evidence of Cersei's infidelity, birth records of Baratheon children going back 300 years. Every legitimate Baratheon child. Black hair. Every one of Cersei's children. Golden hair. The evidence is damning. Circumstantial, but damning. Jon sits across from him. Ned stands by the window, watching the bay. Tonight we move the dragon, Robert says. Midnight, the city will be asleep. We take it to the dragon pit. Jon, you'll stay with it, guard it, bond with it. I'll send food and supplies daily. How long will I need to stay there, Jon asks. Until I'm ready to reveal you, Robert says. Could be days, could be weeks. Depends on how fast I can build the political case against Cersei. What if someone discovers me? Jon asks. Then you fly, Robert says. Get on that dragon and fly. North, south, doesn't matter. Just survive. Understand? Jon nods. Ned speaks. Robert, this is dangerous. If Cersei discovers what you're planning... I know, Robert says. But I'm done being afraid of her. I'm done being afraid of Tywin. They've held me hostage for 15 years with debt and threats. No more. I have a dragon now. I have leverage. And I'm going to use it. There is a knock at the door. Robert tenses. Who is it? Tyrion Lannister, Your Grace, may I enter? Robert and Ned exchange glances. Tyrion, the imp, dangerous. Clever, too clever. Enter, Robert says. Tyrion Lannister walks in. He is small. Misshapen, a dwarf with mismatched eyes and a wattle. But his mind is sharp as Valyrian steel. He bows mockingly. Your Grace, Lord Stark, and the mysterious Jon Snow, who has apparently captured the king's favor. How fascinating. What do you want, imp? Robert asks. Answers, Tyrion says. He pours himself wine uninvited. Drinks? You've been sober for 2 months. You favor a bastard boy over your own children. You're hiding something in that iron wagon you won't let anyone inspect. I'm curious. Call it a character flaw. Curiosity killed the cat, Robert says. But satisfaction brought it back, Tyrion replies. He looks at Jon. Studies him. You have interesting eyes, boy. Gray. Stark eyes. But something else. Something familiar. Tyrion makes him nervous. The imp sees too much. I'm not here to cause trouble, Tyrion says. In fact, I'm here to offer my services. Whatever you're planning, Your Grace, I suspect it involves my sister, and I would very much like to see Cersei taken down a peg or 12. Why would you betray your own family, Ned asks. Because they're awful people, Tyrion says simply. My father despises me. My sister tried to have me killed twice. Jaime is the only one who tolerates me, and even he treats me like an embarrassing secret. So yes, Lord Stark, I would absolutely betray them if it meant watching Cersei squirm. But he is also useful, and he hates Cersei almost as much as Robert does. If I were planning something, Robert says carefully, hypothetically, what would you offer? Information, Tyrion says. I know every secret in this keep, every whisper, every scheme. Littlefinger is embezzling from the crown. Pycelle is Cersei's creature. Varys plays all sides. And my sweet sister is plotting something. I don't know what yet, but she's been meeting with Meryn Trant and Boros Blount in private, her Kingsguard pets. Robert's eyes narrow. She's planning a move. Almost certainly Tyrion agrees. Against you. Against the boy? I don't know. But it's coming. Soon. Robert makes a decision. You want to help? Fine. Keep your ears open. Report to me directly. No one else. And if you betray me, imp, I'll feed you to... He stops. Almost said, the dragon. Tyrion's eyes gleam. Feed me to what, Your Grace? My warhammer, Robert finishes. Now get out. Tyrion bows. Leaves. But his smile suggests he knows more than he is saying. When he is gone, Ned speaks. That was a mistake. We can't trust a Lannister. We can't trust anyone, Robert says. But Tyrion is right about one thing. Cersei is planning something. We need to move faster. The Red Keep. The Dragon Wagon. Midnight. Jon and Robert stand beside the iron-banded wagon. 4 Baratheon guards wait nearby. Men Robert has known since the rebellion. Loyal. Tested. Open it, Robert says. The guards unlock the wagon. The door swings open. Stormwing emerges. The dragon has grown again. It is the size of a pony now. Pale green scales with bronze markings, eyes like molten metal. The dragon stretches its wings. They span 15 feet. Magnificent. Terrifying. The guards stare. One crosses himself. Another whispers a prayer. 7 hells. One breathes. It's real. Dragons are real. And you will never speak of this, Robert says. His voice is iron. On pain of death, this dragon is the future of the realm. Protect that secret with your lives. Yes, your grace, they chorus. Jon approaches Stormwing. The dragon lowers its head. Jon touches the snout, warm scales. Familiar, safe. We're going to fly, Jon whispers. Just a short flight, to your new home. Are you ready? The dragon rumbles, eager. Jon climbs onto Stormwing's back. He has practiced this in the wagon, practiced the grip, the balance. But this is the first real flight. Be careful, Robert says. Jon nods, grips the dragon's neck spines. Fly, he says in High Valyrian. A word he learned from Maester Luwin. Sovagon. Stormwing's wings beat once. Twice, they lift. The ground falls away. Jon's stomach drops. The Red Keep shrinks below. The city spreads out like a map. 500,000 people sleeping, unaware that a dragon flies above them for the first time in over a century. Stormwing climbs higher. The wind is cold, exhilarating. Jon laughs. He cannot help it. This is flight. This is freedom. There, Jon says, pointing to the dragon pit. The ruins of the ancient structure where the Targaryen dragons were kept. Land there. Stormwing descends. The landing is rough. They hit hard. Jon almost falls off. But he holds on. They are inside the dragon pit now. The structure is massive, crumbling, open to the sky in places. Perfect. Robert and the guards arrive on foot minutes later. They stare at Jon and the dragon. You flew, Robert says, wonder in his voice. You actually flew. Yes, Jon says. He is shaking. Adrenaline, fear, joy. It was incredible. This is where you'll stay, Robert says, gesturing to the pit. There's water from an old cistern. I'll have livestock brought daily, sheep, cattle, enough to feed a growing dragon. You'll guard Stormwing, train with it, bond with it, and when I give the word, you'll ride it into the Red Keep and we'll end Cersei's lies forever. Jon nods. I understand. Robert grips his shoulder. I know this is hard. I know you're afraid, but you're Lyanna's son, and she was never afraid of anything. Be brave, Jon. For her, for me, for the realm. I will, Jon says. Robert and the guards leave. Jon is alone with Stormwing in the ancient dragon pit. The dragon curls around him, warm, protective. Jon leans against its side, feels the heartbeat, strong, steady. We're in the viper's nest now, Jon whispers, but we'll survive, together. Stormwing rumbles agreement. Above them, the stars wheel through the sky, indifferent to the schemes of kings and dragons. But the game has changed, and Cersei Lannister is about to learn that her husband has teeth again. The Red Keep, Cersei's chambers, 298 AC, month 3, days after arrival. Cersei paces. She has not slept. Robert has been sober for over 2 months. He avoids her bed. He favors the Stark bastard. He hides something in that wagon. Something is wrong. Deeply wrong. Ser Meryn Trant stands before her. One of her sworn shields. Loyal. Vicious. What did you find? Cersei demands. The wagon is empty, Your Grace, Meryn says. We bribed the guards, checked it last night. Nothing inside. Whatever was there, it's gone. Where? Cersei's voice is sharp. Dangerous. We don't know. The king moved it personally. Midnight. Only his Baratheon guards. They took it somewhere. The guards won't talk. We tried gold. Threats. Nothing works. Robert is hiding something valuable. Something important. Something that makes him sober and focused and dangerous. And the bastard? Cersei asks. Jon Snow? He's disappeared too, Meryn says. No one has seen him since the night they arrived. The servants say he's not in the keep. Not in the city, just gone. Thinks, Robert hides something, the bastard disappears. The two are connected. They must be. Find him, Cersei says. Find the boy. I want to know where he is. What he's doing. Why Robert favors him. Yes, Your Grace. Meryn leaves. Cersei pours wine, drinks. Her hands are shaking. She knows Robert suspects the truth about her children, suspects their parentage. But he has no proof, and without proof he cannot act. But if he has found something, some evidence, some leverage, then everything is at risk. Joffrey's claim, her power, her life. She needs to act, soon. Before Robert moves against her, the door opens. Jaime enters, her brother, her lover, her twin. You look worried, Jaime says. I am worried, Cersei says. Robert is planning something, I can feel it. Let him plan, Jaime says. What can he do? We control the Kingsguard, Father controls the gold. Robert is a drunk with a crown, nothing more. He's sober, Jaime, Cersei says. For the first time in 15 years, he's sober, and focused, and hiding something. That makes him dangerous. Jaime is silent. Then he speaks. Do you want me to kill him? Tempted, so tempted. Not yet, she says. We need to know what he's planning first. Then we strike. Carefully, precisely, and we make it look like an accident. The boar hunt worked before, Jaime says. We could arrange another. No, Cersei says. Robert is too cautious now, too aware. We need something subtler. Poison, a fall, something that can't be traced back to us. I'll speak to Pycelle, Jaime says. He has access to the king's food, his wine. If anyone can do this quietly, it's him. But carefully, if Robert suspects, if he has even a hint that we're moving against him, he'll act. And I don't know what he'll do. Jaime kisses her. I'll protect you, always. You know that. I know, Cersei says. But she is afraid. For the first time in years, she is genuinely afraid. Because Robert has changed. And she does not know why. The Dragon Pit, 298 AC, month 4. Days later, Jon has been living in the Dragon Pit for a week. Robert sends food daily, bread, meat, water livestock for Stormwing, sheep and cattle that the dragon devours eagerly. The dragon is growing fast. Too fast it is the size of a small horse now. Its flames can melt steel. Its wings span 20 feet. Jon trains with it every day, flying, diving, breathing fire on command. The bond between them strengthens. Jon can feel what the dragon feels. Hunger, restlessness, the desire to hunt. At night, Jon sleeps curled against Stormwing's side. The dragon is warm, safe, the only family Jon has in this city of strangers. Robert visits when he can, late at night, bringing news. Cersei is getting desperate, Robert says on the 7th night. She's had her people searching for you, asking questions, offering bribes. She knows something is happening. She just doesn't know what. How much longer? Jon asks. Soon, Robert says. I'm gathering the small council tomorrow. I'm going to present the evidence against Cersei publicly, expose her children as bastards, disinherit Joffrey, and name you as my heir. Tomorrow, Robert confirms. And when Cersei moves against me, and she will, I want you ready. The moment I give the signal, you fly Stormwing to the Red Keep. You land in the throne room. You show the realm that the Age of Dragons has returned. What if she tries to kill you before then? Jon asks. She'll try, Robert says grimly. I'm expecting it. That's why Ned and Barristan Selmy will be with me at all times. The Kingsguard are mostly Cersei's creatures, but Barristan is loyal. He'll protect me. And if something goes wrong, Robert grips Jon's shoulder, then you fly. You get on that dragon, and you fly as far and as fast as you can, north, to Winterfell, to Ned. You survive. Understand? I understand, Jon says. Robert stands. Tomorrow changes everything. Get some sleep. You'll need it. He leaves. Jon sits alone with Stormwing. The dragon is awake, watching, waiting. Tomorrow we fly into the throne room, Jon whispers. Are you ready? Jon hopes Robert's plan works, but he has a terrible feeling that tomorrow people will die. The Red Keep. The throne room, 298 AC, month 4, morning. The small council assembles. Robert sits on the Iron Throne. The first time in years he has sat there sober. The throne is ugly, jagged, uncomfortable, forged from 1,000 swords by Aegon the Conqueror's dragon. A reminder that the Targaryens ruled through fire and blood. Soon, Jon will bring fire and blood back to this room. But first, Robert has to destroy Cersei. The council members take their places. Ned Stark, Hand of the King. Cersei Lannister, Queen. Tyrion Lannister, Acting Master of Coin. Varys, Master of Whisperers. Pycelle, Grand Maester. Barristan Selmy, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. I have called this council to address a matter of succession, Robert begins. His voice is clear, strong, the voice of a king. Cersei's eyes narrow. Succession? Joffrey is your heir, Robert. That has been settled for 12 years. Joffrey is not my son, Robert says. The room goes silent, completely silent. Cersei's face goes white, then red. How dare you? Birth records, witness testimony, the truth that Jon Arryn died discovering. Pycelle stands, shaking. Your Grace, these are serious accusations. They are facts, Robert says. He nods to Ned. Ned produces a stack of documents, spreads them on the council table. Every legitimate Baratheon child in 300 years. Black hair, Ned says. Your Grace's bastards, acknowledged and unacknowledged. Black hair. The Queen's children, golden hair. All of them, the evidence is conclusive. Varys leans forward, studies the documents. His face is unreadable. Fascinating. If true, this changes the entire succession. And I am disinheriting all 3 children. They will be sent to Casterly Rock. They will live. But they will not inherit my throne. You cannot do this. My father will. Your father will do nothing, Robert says. Because I have something he does not. I have the truth, and I have the power to enforce it. What power? Cersei spits. You're a drunk, a failure. You've bankrupted the realm and lost the respect of every lord in Westeros. What power do you have left? More than you know, he says. Ser Meryn, Ser Boros. Arrest the queen. The Kingsguard hesitate. They are Cersei's creatures, bought and paid for. Barristan Selmy draws his sword. You heard the king. Arrest her. The other Kingsguard look at Barristan, then at Robert, then at Cersei. Cersei's voice is cold. If you touch me, my father will burn this city to the ground. Let him try, Robert says. Ser Meryn Trant makes his move. Fast. Draws his sword. Not to arrest Cersei. To kill Robert, he lunges at the throne. Barristan Selmy intercepts. Their blades clash. Barristan is older but faster. Better. He disarms Meryn in 3 moves. Drives his sword through Meryn's throat. Meryn falls. Blood spreads across the floor. Cersei screams, Traitors? Kill them. Kill them all. Ser Boros Blount draws his sword, advances on Robert. Ned steps forward, draws ice. The massive Valyrian steel greatsword. Boros stops, looks at the blade, looks at Ned Stark, drops his sword. I yield, Boros says. The room erupts. Cersei is screaming. Pycelle is stammering. Varys is watching with fascinated eyes. Robert stands, descends from the throne. Take her to the black cells, Robert says, and send word to Jon. It's time. The dragon pit. Noon, Jon receives the message. A Baratheon guard arrives, breathless. Your Grace says now. Fly to the Red Keep, the throne room. Now. Jon's heart pounds. This is it, the moment everything changes. He climbs onto Stormwing's back. The dragon is ready, has been ready for days. Fly, Jon says in High Valyrian. Sovigon. They climb above the city. King's Landing spreads below. 500,000 people, unaware that a dragon flies above them. Jon points toward the Red Keep. There, the throne room. Moments later, Robert stands before the Iron Throne. Cersei is in chains, held by Baratheon guards. The small council watches in shock. Ned stands beside Robert. Are you sure about this? Yes, Robert says. It's time the realm saw what I've been hiding. A sound, distant, growing louder, wings. The ceiling of the throne room is high, vaulted, but not solid. There are openings, spaces where light comes through. Stormwind crashes through one of those openings. Stone shatters. Debris falls. The dragon lands in the center of the throne room with a thunderous impact. The council screams, scrambles back. Cersei stares in horror. Jon dismounts, stands beside the dragon. Stormwing's wings are spread. Its eyes gleam, its jaws open, showing rows of teeth. Robert steps forward. Lords and ladies of the realm, I present Jon Baratheon Stark, son of Lyanna Stark, my true heir and his dragon Stormwing. The throne room is silent, stunned. Varys speaks first. His voice is admiring. Well, this changes everything. The Red Keep, the throne room immediately following. The silence shatters, the small council erupts. Pycelle is stammering prayers. Varys watches with calculating eyes. Tyrion Lannister laughs, a sharp, disbelieving sound. Cersei stares at the dragon, then at Jon, then at Robert. Her face cycles through shock, rage, and finally cold understanding. You've lost your mind, Cersei says. Her voice is shaking. You've actually gone mad, just like Ares. I'm not mad, Robert says. I'm awake. For the first time in 15 years, I'm actually awake. The dragon's tail lashes. Nervous, alert. Too many people. Too much noise. Jon places his hand on the dragon's neck. Easy. Stay calm. Stormwing settles. Slightly, the dragon trusts Jon. But only Jon. Barristan Selmy steps forward, stares at the dragon, then kneels. Your Grace, Prince Jon, I pledge my sword to the true heir. Robert nods. Rise, Ser Barristan. You've always been loyal. I should have trusted you more. Tyrion approaches slowly, carefully. He looks up at Stormwing with wonder. May I? He asks Jon. Touch it? Jon asks. Just look, closely. I've read about dragons my entire life. Never thought I'd see one. Jon nods. Tyrion moves closer. The dragon's bronze eyes track him. Tyrion reaches out, not to touch, just to hover his hand near the scales. Magnificent, Tyrion breathes. Absolutely magnificent. How old? 4 months, Jon says. Hatched in Winterfell's crypts. 4 months and already this size? The growth rate is extraordinary. Tyrion looks at Robert. Your Grace, you've been sitting on the greatest tactical asset in the world. Literally sitting on it. Why reveal it now? Because Cersei was planning to kill me, Robert says. Weren't you, wife? Cersei says nothing. Her jaw is locked. Furious. Pycelle, Robert says. Show me your rings. The Grand Maester goes pale. Your Grace, I don't. Pycelle's hands shake. He holds them up. 7 rings. One catches the light wrong. Robert nods to Barristan. Take the third one. Left hand, filled with purple crystals. Strangler, Tyrion says quietly. The poison that killed Jon Arryn. How long have you been Cersei's creature, old man? I serve the realm, Pycelle stammers. You serve yourself, Robert says. You've been poisoning me slowly. Small doses in my wine. Not enough to kill immediately, just enough to keep me drunk and sick and useless. Cersei's insurance policy. Pycelle falls to his knees. Mercy, your Grace. I was following orders. The Queen commanded. Take him to the Black Cells, Robert says. He can share accommodations with his queen. Guards drag Pycelle away. The Grand Maester is weeping. Cersei watches him go without expression. Varys clears his throat delicately. Your Grace, if I may, the revelation of a dragon is significant, but it raises questions. Prince Jon's parentage. His claim, the realm will demand answers. Robert says, he addresses the room, his voice carries. Strong, clear. The voice of a king. Jon Snow was born Jon Targaryen, son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. Conceived in love or in rape. We'll never know. Lyanna is dead and cannot tell us. But the boy is innocent of his father's crimes. He is Lyanna's son, and I claim him as my own. I am legitimizing him as Jon Baratheon Stark, Prince of Dragonstone, heir to the Iron Throne. The realm will not accept a Targaryen heir, Varys says carefully. Robert's rebellion was fought to destroy the Targaryen dynasty. The lords who fought beside you will see this as betrayal. Then they can come tell me to my face, Robert says. While I sit on a dragon, Ned steps forward. Your Grace, Varys is right about one thing. This needs to be handled carefully. You're asking the realm to accept enormous changes, a disinherited queen, bastards revealed, a Targaryen heir, a dragon. We need time, strategy. We don't have time, Robert says. Cersei knows now, which means Tywin will know within days. And when Tywin knows, he'll move. Fast. We need to consolidate power before he can mobilize. At the dragon that has given him purpose again. We tour the realm, Jon and I. On Dragonback, we visit every major house. We show them the dragon. We give them a choice. Accept the new succession or face dragon fire. Simple. That's tyranny, Ned says quietly. That's Aegon's conquest, Robert corrects. It worked for him. Aegon had 3 dragons, Tyrion points out, and he still faced rebellions for generations. Then I'll deal with rebellions, Robert says. But first, I'm securing my throne, starting with the Lannisters. It is a cold sound. Bitter. You think my father will simply accept this? You've imprisoned his daughter, disinherited his grandchildren, revealed his most valuable pawn as a poisoner. Tywin Lannister will march on King's Landing with every soldier he can muster. And one dragon won't stop 50,000 men. One dragon stopped the entire kingdom of the Reach at the Field of Fire, Robert says. Ask your maesters. Aegon had Vhagar and Meraxes with him, Cersei says. And he still lost men. You have one dragon, one boy who barely knows how to ride it. My father will build scorpions. Massive ones. He'll study the histories. Learn how to kill dragons. And when he does, your precious dragon will die screaming. She smiles. Vicious. Certain. And then I'll watch you die. Slowly, knowing you threw away everything for a Targaryen bastard and a beast. Robert backhands her, hard. Cersei's head snaps to the side. Blood trickles from her lip. Take her away, Robert says, before I forget she's a woman and crush her skull. Guards drag Cersei from the throne room. She is still smiling. When she is gone, Robert sits on the Iron Throne, looks at Jon, at Ned, at Tyrion and Varys and Barristan. Cersei's right about one thing, Robert says. Tywin will come, and we need to be ready. Ned, send ravens to the north. Recall the banners. I want every fighting man mobilized. Tyrion, you said you wanted to help. Prove it. Use your Lannister connections. Tell me what Tywin is planning. I'll need access to certain individuals, Tyrion says. Spies, merchants, people Tywin talks to. You have it, Robert says. Varys, you're the master of whisperers. What are your little birds telling you? Varys folds his hands. That the realm is about to tear itself apart, Your Grace. The Tyrells will remain neutral until they see who's winning. The Martells despise the Lannisters but have no love for you. The Arryns are leaderless since Jon Arryn's death. The Greyjoys care only for the Iron Islands. The Tullys will follow Ned Stark's lead. And the Lannisters will go to war, Robert finishes. Yes, Varys says. Tywin Lannister does not forgive, does not forget, and does not lose. He will see this as existential threat, and he will respond with everything he has. Robert nods. Then we prepare for war. But first, we show the realm what they're dealing with. He looks at Jon. Tomorrow we fly, you and me. On Stormwing, we're going to circle the city 3 times. Let every man, woman, and child in King's Landing see the dragons have returned. Let word spread. Let fear and wonder do half our work for us. Jon swallows. Yes, Your Grace. And Jon? Robert's voice softens. Stop calling me Your Grace. When we're alone, I'm Robert. Or he pauses, struggles with the word. Father, if you want. Jon stares at him. Robert is not his father. Rhaegar was his father. But Rhaegar is dead, and Robert is here, trying, offering something Jon has never had. Father, Jon says quietly. Robert smiles. It is genuine, warm. The first real smile Jon has seen from him that isn't edged with bitterness. Good, Robert says. Now let's go feed your dragon. It's been a long day. King's Landing, the streets. 298 AC, month 4. The next day, Jon sits astride Stormwing. The dragon crouches on the roof of the Red Keep, wings folded. Robert stands beside them, one hand on the dragon's flank. Remember, Robert says, 3 circles around the city. Low enough that everyone can see. High enough that no one can throw spears. Make them understand what they're looking at. I understand, Jon says. Robert steps back. Then show them. Jon grips the neck spines. Sovagon, Stormwing launches. The wings beat hard. The Red Keep falls away. King's Landing spreads below like a map. Jon guides the dragon in a wide circle. Over the great sept of Baelor. Over Flea Bottom. Over the markets and the docks, and the thousands of people going about their lives. They look up, they see the dragon. They scream, some in terror, some in wonder, some in religious ecstasy. The gods have sent a sign. Jon makes the first circle, then the second. By the third, the entire city has stopped. 500,000 people staring at the sky. At the pale green dragon with bronze markings. At the boy riding it. Stormwing roars. The sound echoes across the city. primal, ancient, the sound of power incarnate. Jon lands back on the Red Keep. Robert is grinning. The whole city saw, Robert says. By tomorrow, the whole realm will know. Dragons have returned, and they serve House Baratheon. Casterly Rock, 298 AC. Month 4, 3 days later. Tywin Lannister sits in his solar, reading The Raven. Reading it again and again. His daughter imprisoned, his grandchildren disinherited, a dragon revealed, the realm turned upside down. He sets down the message, looks at his son. Jaime stands by the window, staring at nothing. You knew, Tywin says. His voice is flat. Cold. You knew the children were yours. And you said nothing. What was I supposed to say? Jaime turns. That I'd been fucking our sister for 20 years? That Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen are abominations? You would have killed me. I should kill you now, Tywin says. Then do it, Jaime says. I'm tired, father. Tired of pretending. Tired of lying. Tired of all of it. The heir he raised to be Lord of Casterly Rock. The knight who joined the Kingsguard and threw away the family name. The fool who has destroyed everything Tywin built. I won't kill you, Tywin says, because I need you. Robert has a dragon. That changes the strategic calculus. We cannot fight him openly. Not yet. Not until we know the dragon's weaknesses, Jaime says. Aegon proved that. Aegon's dragons died, Tywin says. Every Targaryen dragon died. Some in battle, some from disease, some from old age. They're mortal, which means they can be killed. I just need to learn how. He stands, walks to his desk, pulls out maps, charts, records. The Conquest, the Dance of the Dragons, Dorne's Resistance, every dragon engagement in history. I'm going to study them all, find the pattern, find the method. And when I do, I'm going to kill Robert's dragon. And then I'm going to kill Robert, and that Targaryen bastard he's adopted. And Cersei, Jaime asks. What about Cersei? Cersei made her choices, Tywin says. She's useful as a martyr, less useful as a living liability. If she dies in Robert's dungeons, that serves our purposes. The realm will see Robert as a tyrant. More houses will turn against him. You'd let your own daughter die? I've sacrificed more for this family than you can imagine, Tywin says. And I'll sacrifice more still before this is over. Now get out. I have work to do. Jaime leaves. Tywin sits alone, studying maps, planning, calculating he has played the Game of Thrones for 40 years. He is not about to lose to a drunk and a dragon. The Red Keep. The small council chamber. 298 AC, month 5. Robert sits at the head of the table. Jon beside him, Ned, Tyrion, Varys. Barristan, the new small council. Smaller, leaner, loyal. Reports, Robert says. The North is mobilizing, Ned says. 20,000 men, they'll march south within the month. The Riverlands are with us. Hoster Tully has pledged his support. That's another 15,000. The Reach remains neutral, Varys says. Mace Tyrell is waiting to see which way the wind blows. If we show strength, he'll join us. If we show weakness, he'll side with the Lannisters. The Stormlands? Robert asks. Mixed, Tyrion says. Your bannermen remember your friendship with Ned Stark. But they also remember you're broke and in debt to my father. Some will come, some won't. I'd estimate 10,000 at best. Robert does the math. 45,000 men. Maybe, and Tywin? Robert asks. 40,000 Lannister forces, Tyrion says, plus another 20,000 from lesser houses in the Westerlands. He can field 60,000 men, maybe more if he calls in every favor. We're outnumbered, Ned says. But we have a dragon, Robert says. One dragon, Tyrion corrects. Against 60,000 men and scorpions, Tywin is already building them. Massive ballistae, designed specifically to kill Stormwing. Jon speaks. How effective are scorpions? Unknown, Varys says. During the Dance of the Dragons, scorpions killed several dragons. But the dragons were smaller, younger. Stormwing is growing fast. By the time Tywin marches, your dragon might be large enough to shrug off scorpion bolts. Might, Ned repeats. That's not a strategy, that's hope. Then what do you suggest? Robert asks. Ned is silent for a moment. Then he speaks. We don't fight Tywin in the field. We can't win a conventional war. But we can make it too expensive for him to continue. Guerrilla tactics, hit his supply lines, burn his camps, use Stormwing to strike fast and retreat. Make every mile he marches south cost him men and gold. Dornish tactics, Tyrion says approvingly. They held out against Aegon for years using exactly that strategy. And it worked, Ned says. Dorne was never truly conquered. Tywin is brilliant, but he's also impatient. If we make this war drag on, make it bleed him dry, he might accept a negotiated peace. What terms? Robert asks. Cersei exiled, not executed, Ned says. Joffrey sent to Casterly Rock to be raised as a Lannister, not a Baratheon. The crown's debt to House Lannister forgiven, and Tywin stays in the Westerlands, banned from court for 20 years. Robert considers this, and if he refuses, then we burn Casterly Rock, Jon says. Everyone looks at him. Jon's voice is quiet, steady. You said it yourself. Aegon burned Harrenhal, made an example. If Tywin won't negotiate, we fly to Casterly Rock and burn it. The castle, the mines, everything. We make him choose between his pride and his legacy. That would kill thousands, Ned says. War kills thousands, Jon says. At least this way we control who dies, and we end it quickly. Robert looks at Jon, sees something new in the boy's eyes. Certainty, the willingness to do what must be done. Lyanna's son, but also something else, something harder. We try negotiation first, Robert says. But if Tywin marches, if he refuses peace, then yes, we burn Casterly Rock, and we make sure the realm knows why. Not tyranny. Justice. The council nods. The plan is set. War is coming. But they have a strategy. And they have a dragon. It might be enough. The King's Road. 298 AC, month 6. Tywin's army on the march. 60,000 men, the largest army assembled since Robert's rebellion. Lannister crimson and gold. Westerland's banners. Clegane. Leffords. Marbrands. Tywin rides at the front, Kevin Lannister beside him. Behind them, the Scorpions. 20 massive ballistae mounted on reinforced wagons, each capable of firing a 6-foot iron bolt with enough force to punch through castle walls. How long to King's Landing? Kavan asks. 3 weeks, Tywin says. Maybe less if the roads are good. Robert will use the dragon, Kavan says. He'll strike our supply lines, our camps. He'll avoid pitched battle. I know, Tywin says. That's why we're moving in tight formation. Scorpions positioned every 100 yards. When the dragon attacks, and it will attack, we'll be ready. And if the boy is smart enough not to attack, then we lay siege to King's Landing, Tywin says. Cut off food, cut off water. Wait, a dragon can burn men, but it can't feed a city. Starvation will do our work for us. Kavan nods. What about the Northern Army? Ned Stark is marching south. Let him come, Tywin says. Stark has 20,000 men at most. We have 60,000. We'll crush him in the field and hang his head from the walls of Winterfell. The army marches, 60,000 men moving south like a slow-motion avalanche. Unstoppable. Inevitable. But in the sky, unseen, a dragon watches. The Red Keep. The War Room. 298 AC, month 6. Night. Robert and Jon stand over a map of the Crownlands. Markers show Tywin's army, moving south, 3 weeks away. He's moving in tight formation, Jon says. Scorpions every 100 yards. He's expecting me to attack. Can you? Robert asks. Not safely, Jon says. If I dive on them, they'll fire 30 scorpions at once. Even if I dodge most of them, one hit could cripple Stormwing, or kill me. Then we don't dive on them, Robert says. We hit them at night, when they're camped. When the scorpions are unmanned, night flying is dangerous, Jon says. I've only done it a few times. And Stormwing can't see as well in the dark. Then you don't need to see well, Robert says. You just need to fly over their camp and burn everything. Tents, supplies, horses, make it hell, then retreat before they can organize. It could work, but I can only hit one camp per night. And they have multiple camps. Tywin will spread his army out to make it harder for me to do real damage. Then you hit the same camp 3 nights in a row, Robert says. Make them afraid to sleep. Make them exhausted. Make them doubt. Exactly, Robert says. We can't beat Tywin in a straight fight, but we can make him afraid, make him second guess, make him wonder if the crown is worth the cost. Tomorrow night, Robert says, Tywin's vanguard will be camped at Duskendale. Hit them hard, make it memorable. Jon looks at the map, at the marker representing thousands of men. Men he will burn, men who will die screaming. I've never killed anyone before, Jon says quietly. Robert places his hand on Jon's shoulder. I know, and I'm sorry. I wish I could spare you this. But war doesn't give us choices. Only consequences. You're Lyanna's son. But you're also a prince, and princes have to make hard decisions. What if I fail? Jon asks. Then we die, Robert says honestly. All of us. But you won't fail, because you have something Tywin doesn't. You have a dragon. And dragons don't fail, they burn. Duskendale, 298 AC, month 6, night. The Lannister camp sprawls across the fields outside Duskendale. 5,000 men, tents, campfires, horses picketed in neat rows. The soldiers are confident, loud. They sing songs, drink wine, toast to Tywin's inevitable victory. They do not watch the sky. Jon sits astride Stormwing. The dragon flies high, silent. The moon is dark, new moon. Perfect for this. Jon can see the campfires below, orange dots in the blackness. 5,000 men who do not know they are about to die. Dracarys, Jon whispers. Stormwing dives, silent. The dragon's wings are folded, falling like a stone. At 200 feet, the wings snap open. Stormwing pulls up, opens its jaws. Fire. A stream of flame 50 feet long. White hot. Hotter than any forge. The tents ignite instantly. Men scream. Horses scream. The camp erupts into chaos. Jon pulls Stormwing into a climb. Circles. Dives again. More fire the supply wagons catch. Food burns. Water barrels explode from the heat. Weapons melt. The soldiers try to fight back. Crossbows. Spears. But they cannot see the dragon. Cannot aim. They fire blindly into the darkness. Stormwing makes 3 passes. 3 infernos. By the 3rd pass, the entire camp is burning. Jon pulls up, flies north, away from the flames, away from the screaming. He does not look back, but he can hear it, the sound of men dying, the sound of war. He has killed hundreds of people tonight, maybe more. He leans forward, presses his face against Stormwing's neck. The dragon's scales are warm, alive, real. I'm sorry, Jon whispers, to the men he killed, to himself, to Lyanna who would be ashamed of him. I'm so sorry. Stormwing flies on. Silent. The dragon does not judge, does not comfort. It simply is. Duskendale, the burned camp. Morning. Tywin Lannister stands in the ruins. The camp is ash. 800 men dead, burned alive or trampled in the panic. Another 300 wounded. Supplies destroyed. Morale shattered. Kevin stands beside him. This is what we expected. I know, Tywin says. His voice is cold, controlled. But knowing something intellectually and experiencing it viscerally are different. The men are afraid. They saw what dragonfire does. What do we do? Kevin asks. We adapt, Tywin says. Starting tonight, scorpions are manned at all times. Shifts, rotation, if the dragon attacks again, we'll be ready. And we spread the camps. Make them smaller. Harder targets force the boy to make multiple runs. Increase his exposure to our defenses. And if he doesn't attack again, then we march to King's Landing and starve him out, Tywin says. Either way, we win. Because he's one boy on one dragon. And I have 60,000 men. Math is on my side. He turns to his commanders. Move out. We've lost a day. I want to make it up. Double marches until we reach the Blackwater Rush. The army moves. Slower now. More cautious, but still moving. Tywin Lannister does not retreat, does not yield, and he will not lose to a dragon. The Red Keep. 298 AC, month 6. Days later, Jon sits alone in his chambers. He has not slept, has not eaten. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees fire, hears screaming. There is a knock. Come in, Jon says. Ned enters, sits beside Jon, says nothing, just sits. Finally, Jon speaks. I killed 800 men last night. I know, Ned says. Does it get easier? No, Ned says honestly. It doesn't. I killed men during the rebellion, at the Trident, at the Tower of Joy. I still see their faces, still hear them. It never gets easier. You just learn to live with it. How? Jon asks. By remembering why you're fighting, Ned says. You're not killing those men because you want to. You're killing them because if you don't, they'll kill you. They'll kill Robert, they'll kill everyone who stands with us. War is horrible, but sometimes it's necessary. I don't know if I can do this again, Jon says. You can, Ned says, because you're stronger than you think. You have your mother's strength, her fire. She would be proud of you. She would hate what I've become, Jon says bitterly. No, Ned says firmly. She would understand. Lyanna was not soft. She knew what war was, knew what it cost. She chose to fight anyway. And so do you. That's what makes you her son. Jon is silent. Then he nods. I'll fly again tonight. Hit another camp. Keep them afraid. Good, Ned says. But Jon, don't lose yourself in this. Don't become what you're fighting against. Stay human. Stay kind. That's the hardest part of war. Not killing, but staying yourself while you do it. Jon looks at Ned. Thank you. For what? For raising me, Jon says. For protecting me. For being the father Rhaegar couldn't be. Ned's face softens. You're welcome, Jon. Now get some rest. You fly again tonight. Ned leaves. Jon lies down, closes his eyes, tries to sleep. The screaming is still there, but quieter now. Bearable. He can do this. He has to do this. For Robert, for Ned, for the realm, for Lyanna. The Blackwater Rush, 298 AC, month 7. 3 weeks after Duskendale, Tywin's army reaches the Blackwater Rush, the river that separates the Crown Lands from King's Landing, the last barrier before the capital. Tywin has lost 4,000 men, not in battle, in raids. Jon has hit 12 camps over 3 weeks, burned supplies, killed horses, made the army exhausted and afraid. But they are here. 60,000 men, reduced to 56,000. Still overwhelming. Robert's forces gather on the south bank. 40,000 men. Northern, Riverlands, Stormlands. Outnumbered but defiant, the two armies face each other across the river. Tywin sends a raven, a final offer. Surrender Jon Targaryen. Exile Eddard Stark. Restore Joffrey as heir. Forgive all Lannister debts. Peace. Robert reads the message, laughs, throws it in the fire. Send my reply, Robert says to the maester. Tell Tywin Lannister that he can come take Jon from my cold, dead hands, and that I'm keeping the dragon. The maester writes, sends the raven. Tywin receives it, reads it, shows no emotion. Tomorrow we cross the river, Tywin says. Tomorrow we end this. The Blackwater Rush, 298 AC, month 7, dawn. The battle begins. Tywin's forces cross the river at 3 points. North, center, south. 56,000 men in disciplined formations. Robert's army meets them on the south bank. 40,000 men in defensive positions. The clash is immediate, brutal, steel on steel, screaming, dying. Jon watches from above. Stormwing circles high, waiting. Robert's strategy, let them cross, let them commit, then burn them. Tywin's strategy, scorpions on the north bank, waiting, watching. When the dragon dives, they fire. Jon sees the pattern, sees the trap, but he has no choice. Robert's forces are being pushed back. They need help. They need fire. Dracarys, Jon says, Stormwing dives, straight at the Lannister center. The dragon's jaws open, fire streams out, men burn. Formations fire. 30 massive bolts launch simultaneously. Jon pulls Stormwing hard right. Most of the bolts miss. One clips the dragon's wing. A glancing blow, painful but not crippling. Stormwing shrieks, pulls up. Jon circles, assesses. The wing is torn. Not badly, but enough they cannot stay in the fight long. Jon makes 3 more passes, each time more scorpion bolts. Each time narrower escapes. On the 4th pass, a bolt hits Stormwing's left shoulder, punches through muscle, not deep, but deep enough. The dragon screams. Jon feels the pain through their bond. Overwhelming. Agonizing. Up, Jon shouts. Sovagon, up. Stormwing climbs, away from the battle, away from the scorpions. The dragon is bleeding. Hurt, but alive. Jon lands behind Robert's lines, dismounts. The healers rush forward. Maesters, veterinarians, anyone who might know how to treat a wounded dragon. Robert runs to Jon. How bad? The wing is torn. The shoulder is punctured. Stormwing can't fight anymore today. Robert looks at the battlefield. His forces are losing. Slowly, inevitably. The Lannisters have more men, better discipline. Without the dragon, this is a conventional battle, and Robert is losing conventional battles. Fall back, Robert says. To the city, we hold the walls, make them siege us. The retreat is orderly, controlled. Robert's forces withdraw to King's Landing. The Lannisters pursue but do not press hard. Tywin is cautious. He has won the field. He does not need to risk more men in pursuit. By nightfall, Robert's army is inside King's Landing. The gates are closed. The walls are manned, and Tywin Lannister begins the siege. King's Landing, 298 AC, month 7. The siege begins. The city is surrounded. 56,000 Lannister forces encircle the walls. Catapults, siege towers, battering rams. Inside the city, 40,000 defenders, plus 500,000 civilians. Terrified, hungry, the siege has barely begun, and already food prices are rising. Robert stands on the walls, looks out at the Lannister camp. Campfires stretching to the horizon. Ned stands beside him. How long can we hold? Months, Robert says. If we ration carefully, the city has food stores, water from wells, we can last. And Stormwing? Healing, Robert says. The maesters say 2 weeks before the wing is functional, 3 before the dragon can fight again. Tywin won't wait 3 weeks, Ned says. I know, Robert says, which is why I'm going to offer terms. What terms? Robert looks at Ned. I'll step down, abdicate, make Jon king. In exchange, Tywin spares the city, spares you, spares everyone. He gets what he wants. Cersei freed. The Lannister debt's forgiven. He just has to let Jon rule. The dragon dead. Everything that threatens Lannister power destroyed. Then I'll give him one more option, Robert says. Single combat, me against him, winner takes the throne, no siege, no more deaths. Just 2 men settling this the old way. Robert, you can't. I can, Robert says. And I will, because I'm done watching people die for my mistakes. I started this war, I'll end it, one way or another. He turns, walks away, leaves Ned standing on the walls, staring at the Lannister camp, wondering if Robert Baratheon has finally found his death. The Lannister camp. Night, Tywin receives Robert's message, reads it again. Single combat, Robert Baratheon versus Tywin Lannister. Winner rules the 7 kingdoms. Tywin is 62 years old. Robert is 38. Even sober, even trained, Robert is younger, stronger, faster. But Tywin does not need to fight Robert. He has a champion, Gregor Clegane, the mountain that rides, 8 feet tall, 400 pounds, the strongest man in Westeros. Tywin writes his reply, accepted, tomorrow at dawn. Champions permitted, your dragon stays grounded, or the deal is void. He sends the raven. Smiles. Robert wanted to end this the old way. Fine. The mountain will crush Robert's champion, and then Tywin will take King's Landing and burn it to ash. King's Landing. Robert's chambers. Night. Robert reads Tywin's reply. Champions permitted. He laughs. Bitter. Of course Tywin would use the mountain. Of course he would cheat even when given the chance to fight honestly. Who do we have that can fight the mountain? Ned asks. No one, Robert says. Barristan is too old. Jaime is in Casterly Rock. The Hound is with the Lannisters. No one in the realm can beat Gregor Clegane in single combat. Then we don't accept, Ned says. We don't have a choice, Robert says. If we refuse, Tywin keeps the siege, and we starve. There is a knock. Jon enters. Stormwing is with him. The dragon's wing is bandaged. The shoulder is healing, but the dragon is functional, mobile. I'll fight him, Jon says. No, Robert says immediately. Why not? Because you'll die, Robert says. The mountain has killed dozens of men in single combat. You're 14 years old. He'll crush you. Then I won't fight him on the ground, Jon says. I'll fight him from the air, on Stormwing. Tywin is using a champion, Jon says. A man twice the size of any normal fighter. That's not honorable either. So I'll use my champion, the dragon. He's fought mounted opponents before. He'll know how to defend against aerial attacks. Then I'll have to be faster, Jon says. Better. I've been training with Stormwind for months. We can do this. Robert looks at Jon, at the boy who has become a man in the space of weeks. The boy who has killed hundreds, who has burned camps and faced scorpion fire and kept fighting. Lyanna's son. Brave, reckless, unstoppable. All right, Robert says, you fight, tomorrow at dawn, but if it goes wrong, if the mountain gets close, you fly, you retreat, you survive. Understand? I understand, Jon says. But they both know he is lying. Tomorrow, Jon will fight the mountain, and one of them will die. King's Landing. The field of combat 298 AC, month 7. Dawn. The field is outside the city walls. Neutral ground. Both armies watch from a distance. 40,000 on one side, 56,000 on the other. In the center, Gregor Clegane, the mountain that rides. 8 feet tall in full plate armor, a great sword the size of a man. He does not wear a helm. He wants Jon to see his face when he dies. Jon stands at the edge of the field, Stormwing beside him. The dragon's wing is still bandaged but functional. The shoulder is healing. Robert grips Jon's arm. You don't have to do this. He climbs onto Stormwing's back. The dragon shifts, ready, eager. Jon looks at Robert. If I die, you won't, Robert says. If I die, Jon continues, tell them I tried. Tell them I fought for the realm. And tell them Lyanna's son did not die a coward. I will, Robert says. His voice is rough, broken. But you're not going to die, because you're better than this, better than all of us. Jon nods, turns to the field, Sovagon. Stormwing launches. The dragon climbs fast. High, the mountain watches, waiting. Jon circles, assessing. The mountain is in full plate, slow, heavy, but protected. Dragonfire might not penetrate that armor. Jon needs to be precise. Target the weak points, the joints, the neck, the face. Jon dives. Stormwing's jaws open. Dracarys, fire streams down. The mountain raises his shield. The flames wash over him. When they clear, he is still standing. The shield is scorched but intact. The mountain laughs, a deep rumbling sound. Is that all, boy? I expected more from a dragon. Jon pulls up, circles again. The armor is too thick, the shield too effective. He needs a different approach. He dives again, this time not for fire, for claws. Stormwing's talons extended. The dragon rakes across the mountain's back. The armor holds, but the impact staggers him. The mountain swings his greatsword, massive, fast despite his size. The blade whistles past Stormwing's wing, inches away from cutting through. Jon pulls up again. His heart is pounding. This is not working. The mountain is too well armored, too prepared. Then Jon sees it, the mountain's horse, tethered at the edge of the field, unarmored. Jon dives, not at the mountain, at the horse. Stormwing's fire engulfs the animal. It dies instantly. The mountain roars. Coward! Fight me! Jon makes pass after pass, never engaging directly, always hitting from angles, burning the ground around the mountain, making the man exhausted, overheated in his armor. The mountain is slowing. The plate armor is cooking him alive. His movements are sluggish, desperate. Finally, he removes his helm, gasping for air, overheated, vulnerable. Jon dives one last time. Stormwing's jaws close on the mountain's head. The teeth pierce skull. The dragon lifts, shakes, drops the body. Gregor Clegane falls, dead. The mountain has fallen. The field is silent. Both armies stare. Jon lands beside the body, dismounts. His legs are shaking. He has just killed the most feared warrior in Westeros. Robert runs onto the field, embraces Jon. You did it. You actually did it. Tywin Lannister watches from his camp. His face is stone. He has lost his champion, lost the duel, lost the war. He turns to Kevon. Prepare to retreat. We're going back to Casterly Rock. And Cersei? Kevin asks. Leave her, Tywin says. She's Robert's problem now. The Lannister army withdraws, slowly, with discipline, but they withdraw. The siege is over. Robert has won. The Red Keep, the throne room 298 AC, month 8. 1 week later, Robert sits on the Iron Throne. Jon stands beside him. Ned, Tyrion, Barristan, Varys, the small council, the realm's witnesses, Cersei Lannister. Robert says you are guilty of treason, adultery, conspiracy to murder. By all rights, I should execute you. Cersei stands in chains, defiant. Then do it. I'm tired of this farce. I'm not going to execute you, Robert says, because I'm not heiress, and I'm not my father. I'm exiling you to Casterly Rock. You'll live, but you'll never hold power again. Your children will be raised as Lannisters, not Baratheons. Not royalty, just Lannisters. Cersei's face twists. You think this is mercy. I think you're done, Robert says. Take her away. Guards remove Cersei. She does not scream, does not weep, just leaves. Silent, broken. When she is gone, Robert stands, addresses the court. The war is over, the Lannisters are defeated. The realm is at peace, and now we rebuild. He looks at Jon. Jon Baratheon Stark. Kneel. Jon kneels. Robert draws his sword, places it on Jon's shoulder. I name you Prince of Dragonstone, heir to the Iron Throne, rider of Stormwing, protector of the realm. Rise, Prince Jon. Jon rises. The court applauds, not enthusiastically, but they applaud. The dragon rider prince, the future king, the boy who killed the mountain and saved the realm. Outside the Red Keep, Stormwing roars. The sound echoes across King's Landing. The Age of Dragons has returned, and the realm will never be the same. The Red Keep, 6 months later, 299 AC. The Wall has sent ravens, desperate, pleading. White Walkers, the dead rising. Winter coming. Robert reads the messages, looks at Jon, at the dragon perched on the Red Keep's roof. Cersei was right about one thing, Robert says. We've been fighting the wrong war, fighting each other while the real enemy waits in the north. Then we fly north, Jon says. We take Stormwing to the Wall. We burn the dead before they can march south. Robert nods. Tomorrow, we fly north. Together, you and me and that dragon. We end the long night before it begins. Jon looks at Robert, the man who has become his father, the king who sobered up, the drunk who found purpose. Together, Jon agrees. Above them, Stormwing spreads its wings. The dragon is fully grown now, the size of a large horse, still growing, still becoming. Tomorrow they fly north, to the Wall, to the darkness, to the war that matters. But today the realm is at peace, the dragon has returned, and the Baratheon Stark dynasty has begun. The age of ice is coming, but fire will meet it, and the realm will survive the end. Let us know what you'd like to see next.